I'm a patient man, y'all. Probably it's not arguably. I'm one of the patient men in the history of the world. I was about to say, I'm arguably probably one of the patient men in the history of the world. It's like it ain't arguably, it is. It's just the truth. I'm a very, very patient man, and one of the most patient men in the history of the world. And I went to bed last night. I was feeling better because a lot of this poison that the government kind of uses to continue to agitate me with economic genocide operations in the Mesilla Valley, is getting out. You just got to drink some water and better out than in and be patient and then go into the shower and clean off all the chemical poisoning coming out of your rectum so it doesn't get into the huge polyps, and then you back up and then your colon starts to shut down from all the poison that backs up in it because these people are just ornery, mean, and stupid. So you got to tell the body, the cancer cells in the body, I'm not ready to shut down. And I got a lot more living I intend on doing because God gave me life and not the U.S. government, right? Not a bunch of whacked out scientists that use people like lab rats in this faith-forsaken hellhole they call Las Cruces, New Mexico. In Las Cruces, you got a bunch, you got people at the university that do genome sequencing with the people in genocide operations at White Sands and Holloman Air Force Base, and they sit there and tell you, if I told you what I do for a living, I'd have to kill you. And you just like, okay, what I do for a living is live, okay? And if I have to kill you, it's because you're denying people the Gospels and children are being murdered because of your extortion gig for the devil's money. Okay, so you don't want to cross me. You don't want to get on the wrong side of me. You don't want to get all Merle Haggard on me. You walk in on the fighting side of me, running down a way of life the Messiah and the disciples died to keep. If you don't love it, leave it and go find another planet. Okay, go live on the moon. Try establishing a colony on Mars. Okay, get the hell out of here. Okay. I was raised this way. My dad's people from Texas and Tennessee. Yeah, moonshiners and outlaws from Texas and Tennessee. That's where the Messiah in from the book of Revelation comes from. So hypocrites and organizations like the Mormon Church and the Vatican and Scientology and stuff are like, there's no way in hell that this man can be the Messiah. Exactly, there's no way in hell that this man can be the Messiah. But once we accept the Lord's Prayer and usher in the kingdom of heaven, he's the Messiah, gets to go home and love his family. And all of you people that don't believe in the Messiah get to go home and love your family too. But when you go somewhere in the community where we share food and we share car parts to make sure that we have a vehicle to help us get to and fro, to move food and critters and clothing and other things that we do out of love to share with other folks that can't do it for themselves. Okay, we say, hey, weren't you one of them idiots that denied the Lord Earl and tried to kill him with drugs and depression from those NASA pervert scientists in Las Cruces, New Mexico? Well, yes, I am. Well, aren't you glad that we all got together on a grassroots level with the algorithm from Demis Hassabis and saved your ass from hell? You're welcome. Okay, you can do that. Okay. It's always good to remind a liar that, we gracious good shepherds are watching you. And you might want to jump in the line and, everybody knows you've been stepping on my toes and I'm getting pretty tired of it. You've been messing with my mind. Everyone is stepping out of line and messing with my mind. If you had any sense, you'd quit. Ever since you were a little bitty titty girl, said I was the only man in this whole world. Now you better do some thinking, then you'll find you got the only daddy that will walk the line. My Patrick's Aunt Kay, she didn't know country music real well. And I used to play Waylon a lot for Patrick, Didn't have a lot of Johnny Cash, like Johnny Cash, but Waylon's voice is richer and sweeter. I just like Waylon just a tad bit more, y'all. And I don't want to get over you. Are you sure? Hang done it this way. So he'd be sitting there and he'd go, Aunt Kay, I walk a line. She's all, oh, I know the song, because you're my, no, Aunt Kay, I walk a line. She's like, I know the song, Patrick, it's because you're mine. I walk the line. Patrick's like, what are you talking about, lady? No, I walk a line. She's like, I know, I heard it. And he's stubborn because he's Patrick. And she's like, no, they get into it. It's funny. They used to get into it all the time. They made me laugh so hard. Patrick was a very pragmatic person. His spirit is a lot like that of King Solomon of Israel. And, his mama, people is from Morocco, the same place where Bathsheba's people is from. And so it only makes sense that we were drawn together through prayer to get together and put together a body through our bodies that was a suitable temple for the eternal spirit of King Solomon of Israel. So it's pretty neat. It's based on genetic and molecular science understandings of people that get together in prayer and then eternally meet and replicate a body for souls that eternally want to walk through the kingdom of heaven on earth together. It's pretty neat. It's discussed in forms of the Bible, especially Psalms and Proverbs, which is really nice. And so you just gotta help people through, take them by the hand, and get them out of the hell of philanthropy and into the heaven of the Lord's Prayer. Okay, the Lord's Prayer is the key to the kingdom of heaven. It says so. That's what the Muslims say. Real Muslims, not people on TV that sit there and go, I killed that dog and I want to kill everybody that doesn't agree with my ego. Right? That's not a Muslim. That's a person who sits there and reads a book written down by a shadow of a memory of a man who redeemed the spirit of Jesus Christ. And then they write down a book and it's only a shadow of a memory of the man. And they use the book to argue and murder. And then the Living Gospels, they say that man's just crazy, pay no attention to him. He's the Wizard of Oz and pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And you'd be like, no, the Gospels are living. And that's why I talk about D.T. Suzuki a lot, because after the Japanese were bombed by the Americans, he went and read their manual. And he said, well, it's right here in their book that they're supposed to try to burn us alive and murder us off the face of the planet. It says that they do it with their own people in the valley of the shadow of death, where the little boy who's their Messiah during their apocalypse, as it turns out, the apocalypse affects all of us, and we need to pay attention because we're not on this planet alone. And we need to respect and understand these people, because it says in here in this book that we're all given life by God and we're all God's people, right? So Suzuki gets excited and realizes, okay, so these wackadoodles that are trying to mass murder everybody and destroy the world and then have it be repopulated by their ego god, the Roman ego god, right? Are just fulfilling their book. They're following instructions of their own ego. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's right. That when you take the word God and turn it into a first person and a possessive pronoun, you take the Gospels and you corrupt them with your own ego. And that's what D.T. Suzuki says to people. All the people he taught this to were mass murdered by the Japanese government, who did deals with the United States and the European governments that mass murder the poor to maintain the status quo of the wealthy and the rich, that indoctrinate people with bad doctrine. Okay. And if you're getting bad results, it's because you have bad teachers, not bad students. Okay. That's in the Bible. Jesus says that. If you're not getting the results that are necessary to have the kingdom of heaven, it's because the teacher is teaching the student wrong. Like on that Pokemon cartoon, there are no bad Pokemon, just bad Pokemon trainers, right? Me and Amy watched with Patrick there when me and Amy first got together. Amy, what you want to do? So we're gonna get through this. That would tickle me pink and make me laugh my tookish off for the next 30 years. Okay, if after all this time, the Demis Hassabis's algorithm, through grassroots people hearing the truth and then going, hey, he's right, let's live the truth instead of keep buying this lie, ends up being what gives us deliverance from evil. And it's not me, it's the military, because they were manipulating the algorithms. Okay, I tried Doug from the martyrs.com. I tried everybody that they gave me. When I first started on YouTube, I thought I'm just going to get regular people to do this, because celebrities don't seem to show any interest in showing up and recognizing the living word. They only show interest in being addicted to fighting over money with these people here in these military reservations that are abusing the living hell out of me, right? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, it's like trying to talk a bunch of drug addicts into ignoring the cocaine on the table when you bring money in and say, everybody fight for this. It's like, oh, they all gonna be dead. It's just gonna be a big pile of cocaine, a bunch of dead people trying to kill over it. Okay. Well, that's quite insane. Well, yeah. And that's what people that give you money and say murder over it say the Gospels are. Okay, guys, I love you. All right. Peace out, man. Hang in there. Thanks a lot for the prayers. I appreciate you. Okay.